Welcome back to another episode of Clarksville Now Reports. I'm Angela Peterson. Let's get right into it. A sheriff deputy was arrested at the beginning of the month. William Baker was charged with official misconduct, aggravated perjury, and official oppression related to an incident during a traffic stop he conducted in September. Keely Quinlan reported that he was placed on administrative leave after the incident on September 10th, and Sheriff Fuson told Clarksville Now that Baker was terminated. The victim, 21-year-old Kennard Williams, told Clarksville Now that Baker targeted him because of his race. Williams said his friends were taking him back home from the airport when Baker stopped his friend for speeding. Williams said Baker then shined a flashlight on him and his other friend in the back seat and asked for their IDs. He said he declined to give the officer his ID because he was not the one driving, and his ID was also still in his backpack from his travels, but he showed it anyways. Baker ordered Williams to get out of the car, and he gave Williams a ticket for failure to exhibit. When Williams started asking questions, he was placed under arrest for disorderly conduct. The investigation is still ongoing. A soldier with the Special Forces 5th Group was charged with the murder of his pregnant wife in Fort Campbell. Sergeant First Class Joseph Santiago has been charged in the death of Megan Santiago and injury of her unborn child, according to Brenda Lynn Player, Public Affairs Director at Fort Campbell. The investigation is still ongoing, and no further information was released. A months-long investigation into complaints about the E911 director, Hope Peterson, led to several people who came forward about what it's like to answer the phones. Keely Quinlan reported that these complaints detailed COVID-19 concerns, lunch breaks, hostile work environment, medical privacy, discrimination, and more. Kirsten Abbott, who spoke with Quinlan, told her, quote, "We already have a stressful enough job. We have to deal with people taking their literal very last breath on the phone with us, their very last breath." Abbott continued to say that these extenuating circumstances don't help the already hard job. Hope Peterson still holds her position at E911. Coming up next, TikTok challenges are running CMCSS schools a hefty price tag. I'll tell you more about it after the break. October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Did you know that 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer in their lifetime, and it's the most common cancer amongst women? Jessica Baladad said that one of the biggest ways that you can advocate for your health is by doing a self-breast exam. She created an app to help you stay on top of that. Check it out. Breast pain, nipple discharge, inverted nipples, a lump. These are all symptoms of breast cancer according to Dr. Google, but breast health is more complicated than a quick search on the internet.
My name is Jessica Baladad, and I'm a breast cancer survivor. When I was 18 years old, I had a lumpectomy because I accidentally stumbled upon a lump in my breast while taking a shower. It turned out to be a benign occurrence called a fibroadenoma, but it was that instance that got me into the habit of doing self-breast exams. And so fast forward, from 18 to age 32, 33, about 15 years later, I'm doing a self-exam in the shower, and I found a lump in my breast that turned out to be breast cancer.
Jessica Baladad was only 33 years old when she was diagnosed with stage 2B breast cancer with no other symptoms but a lump.
Before I did the self-exam, I had just gone to my well woman's exam visit with my practitioner. She performed a clinical exam of my breast, and she didn't say anything about a lump. So when I found the lump in my breast about 2 weeks later doing a self-exam, I thought, oh, I'm fine. I even got out of the shower, went to Dr. Google, Googled my symptoms. I didn't have any dimpling, no puckering, no bleeding, no discharge. I just had a lump, so I thought, oh yeah, I'm fine. I don't know how much it grew, but the tumor was about 4.3 centimeters, and I had 2 diseased lymph nodes.
Jessica directed the Feel for Your Life social media movement. Seeing the need for advocacy in the community, she created the Feel for Your Life app, allowing women to take back control of their health.
When I was coming out and telling my story to my friends and loved ones, they would ask me, how did you even know that you had cancer, or what made you suspect that you had cancer? And I said, well, I do my self-breast exams and I found a lump. You're doing your exams too, right? And they're like, no, what is that? And that really concerned me. So it started out as a social media project, but It's called Feel for Your Life. It's on Facebook and Instagram. And I used it as a platform just to share my story and to share my advocacy because I wanted all women to be their best breast health advocates.
1 in 8 women will get breast cancer in their lifetime, according to the Tennessee Department of Health. About 950 Tennessee women died in 2020 from breast cancer. Early detection is crucial in treatment, and Jessica says the app gives people the resources they need to be prepared.
So one thing that you can do is set a goal to hold yourself to a healthy accountability, to know how often you would like to use the app. From there, you can learn how to do a self-breast exam, learn about genetics, learn about prophylactic and risk-reducing measures that you can take. You can ask your doctor questions about identifying your specific risks. And from there, you can set a reminder to remind you to do your self-breast exams. And then as you're doing your self-breast exams, you can track and monitor your changes. I have some prompts in there that will let you answer a few questions and kind of really get you more familiar with your breasts.
With Clarksville Now, I'm Angela Peterson. TikTok challenges encouraging students to steal or destroy property have led to over $20,000 worth of damage to Clarksville Montgomery County schools. The trends, which change each month according to the list of challenges circulating online, have led to a urinal being ripped off a wall, teachers' personal items being destroyed, and thousands of dollars in repairs. Last month, more than 100 incidences of vandalism and theft were reported in the district's 14 middle and high schools. According to Anthony Johnson, Chief Communication Officer for CMCSS, he said some of the worst problems have been in bathrooms. Hundreds of soap dispensers, paper towel dispensers, and toilet paper holders have been ripped off walls. A 7-year-old went missing overnight, and a CMCSS bus driver found him on her route. Aiden Price was reported missing on the night of October 20th after he ran away. According to the Clarksville Police Department, he got into trouble with his mother and stormed out of the house with no shoes or shirt. Thankfully, Stephanie Dollick was in the right place at the right time. Dollick saw him and opened her bus door and then asked the child's name. When she confirmed that it was the missing child, she encouraged him to board her bus. Dollick has been a driver for CMCSS for 13 years and transports students to the Tennessee School for the Blind. We will be back with more Clarksville Now reports. Stay tuned. October is a great opportunity to let your imagination run wild, and with Halloween, adults, children, and skeletons alike can be whatever they want to be. This has at least been true for the Bones family. Sarah Garcia spoke to me about the importance of this Halloween tradition in particular. Elkton Drive is a busy subdivision, but especially so during the Halloween season. The Bones family is a tradition that Sarah Garcia and her family have been doing in Clarksville for almost a decade, but her father, who is a significant part of it, passed away this year.
We added in my father because he passed away this year, and he was a huge help and inspiration throughout all the years that the Boneses have happened. He also did set design, so he would be the person who would give me ideas and help me bounce things off, whether it would be possible to build it or construct it. He would always tell me that, you know, whenever I go, when I die, just put me in your graveyard. So that's what we did this year.
These spooky scenes change in the dead of night, and she told Clarksville Now that they see over 1,000 trick-or-treaters on Halloween night.
We see at least every single day, not counting the people who live in the neighborhood and drive by it regularly, but we probably have about 20 people who come by just to see it from outside of the neighborhood. We're followed all around the world. Last year, we had a family that came here from Michigan for Halloween just to see the Boneses.
Sarah says that once again this year, there are families from all over the United States who are planning to make a trip to see the Boneses.
To hear that the Boneses have such an impact in people's lives is that they would plan a vacation around it is like, it's a dream.
With Clarksville Now, I'm Angela Peterson. Unfortunately, only 2 weeks into this Halloween display, Garcia found that the bones had been vandalized. Garcia told Clarksville Now that set pieces and skeletons were torn apart or stolen, and it almost put a halt to this lovely tradition. But they decided to make the best out of a bad situation by setting up an emergency room for the Boneses to recover. It looks like it worked because they were able to carry out the rest of their holiday tradition with thick skin. Clarksville Con came back after a year-long hiatus with a new location and some special faces. Check it out. Clarksville Con is back and bigger than ever after a year-long hiatus. On Saturday morning, hundreds of people showed up at the Quality Inn on Exit 4 to be a part of all things geek culture. From Renaissance jewelry to independent artists, there was plenty for people to enjoy. Additionally, there were some special guests that made an appearance.
Hey guys, Jennifer Seehey here, singing voice of Sailor Moon.
Others included actor and artist Matthew Ashley, legendary cartoonist Guy Gilchrist, and so many more. If you missed Clarksville Con this year, don't worry, they'll be back at it again on March 26, 2022. With Clarksville Now, I'm Angela Peterson. Did you know our very own campus is supposedly haunted? More about that coming after the break. There are some new businesses and old favorites coming back to Clarksville for you all to enjoy. Taco John's will be back in town at 955 North Riverside Drive. There was a point in time in the 90s when Clarksville had 2 Taco John's. The new location is set to open in December. Additionally, Clarksville will be getting a rock and roll sushi off of Wilma Rudolph Boulevard at 108 Morris Road. That location will be open this month. We've all heard of a ghost story or two around town, but did you know Austin Peay harbors many tales of its own? I spoke with adjunct instructor Melissa Arrington about the haunting happenings of this campus.
You know, I think I've always kind of taken the viewpoint of there's more to this world than what we're ever going to be able to know or understand. And you should always keep an open mind, but then at the same time have a little bit of skeptical also, because most things that people attribute to ghosts really can be explained away by something else. But are there things that just can't be explained no matter how hard you try? Yes.
Melissa Arrington was always compelled by ghost stories as a young girl, but it followed her into adulthood when she discovered her very own campus harbored its own past. Several buildings on Austin Peay's campus have been said to be haunted. For Melissa's final thesis project, she wrote a documentary focusing on paranormal happenings, specifically in Harnett Hall, where in the 1920s a girl died by suicide.
So we're up there and we're recording everything. We have handheld cameras going. We're doing an EVP session, so we're asking questions, kind of waiting for people, ghosts, whatever you want to call them, to respond to us. We're hearing stuff, everyone's getting weird feelings. It was super cool. When I get home to start uploading all of the footage from the SD cards, one of the cameras had already died before we got up there, so there was only one other camera left. The SD card, the one section from that little attic room in Harnett Hall was corrupt. Not the entire SD card, just the one section. Another interesting thing that happened, her name's Alicia. So she was asking questions, she was talking, I believe we were on the third, or she was on the 3rd floor. And she goes to turn around to talk to Matt, the cameraman, and she had been talking to him. She turns around, only Matt's not there.
Harnett Hall isn't the only building that gave her weird feelings, but Woodward Library as well.
So a lot of people are interested in the library because several years ago, a woman named Lorraine Warren came to campus. If you don't know who Lorraine Warren is, it was her and her husband Ed. They were ghost hunters. Lorraine was a demonologist. So if you've ever seen the Conjuring movies, that is about some of the stuff that they did. But so Lorraine comes to campus to do like a little lecture, and before her lecture, she's being given a tour of campus. They go into the library, go down to the basement of the library, and she actually couldn't stay in there because she could feel, see, and hear Civil War soldiers that had either died or at the very least suffered a lot when they were there. So obviously it's not that actual building because that building is much newer, wasn't here during the Civil War. But during the Civil War, where Austin Peay is at was called Stewart College. And in the area roughly of the library was a dormitory called Stewart Hall. Right before the Union troops made it to Clarksville, as they were coming down from Fort Donelson towards Fort Defiance in Clarksville, they evacuated Stewart College and they were using the dormitories as field hospitals for soldiers.
David Johnson has been working in the printing services area of the library for over 30 years and has said that he's had some odd occurrences.
On the door that leads into the actual library, it has an electronic bell on it, and he would be sitting in his office and he would hear the bell, like someone had opened the door. So he would go out, but the door is still closed and locked. His wife and daughter had come to see him at work one day, and he sent them up to Starbucks to get some coffee. So he's sitting in his office working, and as he's sitting there, he hears a woman say, "I'm back," but he calls to her. She never comes in to bring him the coffee. So he's sitting there, and then he hears the door open and close again, and his wife and daughter actually come in at that point.
On the 3rd floor of Traherne is where Margaret is said to live. Upon entering, there is an unsettling atmosphere. Some of the professors tell stories of Margaret, and William Parker with Parks and Recreation told Clarksville Now that it is the most haunted building of them all.
One of the things in Traherne, there's supposed to be a ghost in Traherne named Maggie or Margaret. Nobody knows exactly who she is. Do I think that there probably is one there? Yeah, I think she might really be there. But a lot of things that people attribute to her, such as elevators moving, or, there's an elevator in Traherne. And people have said that it'll go up or down without anyone pushing buttons.
Austin Peay isn't the only place that harbors its ghost stories in Clarksville. Dating from the city's origin, there are many circumstances that cannot be explained.
I don't think we're ever going to truly be able to answer the question. Are they absolutely 100% real?
With Clarksville Now, I'm Angela Peterson. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching and following me on this venture. I'm Angela Peterson, and this has been Clarksville Now Reports.